हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू मनु लॉ क्लासेस। मेरा नाम गौतम दीक्षित है। आज के इस वीडियो में वी आर गोइंग टू सी सम ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट न्यूज़ ऑफ 3 जून 2022। नाउ ओवर हियर देयर आर सम न्यू थिंग्स व्हिच यू शुड नोट फॉर व्हिच आर इम्पोर्टेंट इन एग्जाम। सो एक हम चीज़ पढ़ेंगे अबाउट पीएम श्री स्कूल, ओके, एंड वी आर ऑल्सो गोइंग टू सी न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के अंदर इसको सेटअप किया हुआ है। सो द न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इट वॉज पास्ड इन 2022। सो इसके पहले जो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसीज या एजुकेशन पॉलिसी ऑफ इंडियाज़ थे, तो पहला एक पास हुआ था नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, इट वाज पास्ड इन 1968। देन द अनदर नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, इट वाज पास्ड इन 1986। नाउ बोथ ऑफ देम they followed the same structure of education, that is 10 plus 2 plus 3. But the national education policy 2022, it focuses on it has changed the curriculum structure from 10 plus 3 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Some of the other highlights of national education policy are that it focuses on instructions in mother tongue up to primary classes, okay, and second is that it aims for increasing the enrollment in primary, secondary and higher educations in India, and it aims that expenditure on education should be 6% of GDP. The next is the sustainable development goal, which is related with the education. So the sustainable development goal 4, it is related with education for all. So over here, if you will just see that no language is less than Hindi or English. So Dharmendra Pradhan, who is our Union Minister of Education, while speaking at the conference of education ministers from across the country, he said that now he is focusing on mother tongue as a medium of instructions, and that's why he's saying that in India no language is less than Hindi or English. So he has said that all languages are national languages, whether it is Gujarati, Tamil, Punjabi, Assamese, Bengali or Marathi. No language is less than Hindi or English. Now see, this is important. So Dr. K. Kasturirangan, अगर आपसे पूछता है कि who was the head of the drafting committee of the National Education Policy 2020, so the answer is Dr. K. Kasturirangan. So Dr. K. Kasturirangan, he was the head of the drafting committee of the National Education Policy 2020, and he has coined the term local languages, okay, or mother tongue such as tribal language, and has discussed reviving them with the help of technology. Now the minister has announced a new school scheme which is called as PM Shri Schools. Now this PM Shri Schools, there will be an exemplary schools, or you can say a model school for new education policy 2020. Okay, so there are certain figures. So अगर ये हम देखेंगे PM Shri Schools, they will be a step ahead from केंद्रीय विद्यालय एंड नवोदय विद्यालय. तो हमारे देश में टोटल 15 लाख स्कूल्स हैं, उसमें से 11 लाख जो हैं दीज आर गवर्नमेंट स्कूल, और उसमें से 1% विल बी PM Shri Schools अंडर अ न्यू स्कीम. नाउ दिस PM Shri School, दे विल बी द लेबोरेटरी फॉर नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020. यहाँ पे जो भी नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का मेंशन आ रहा है, इट इज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020. Now one more important figure is that 40% of our population is between the age of 3 and 20 years, and this PM Shri School aims to make them 21st century global citizen. This is also the goal of national education policy, that our curriculum should be revived so to meet the challenges of 21st century, meet the needs of 21st century. The next is we also have an editorial related to this, increasing targeted killing in Valley, Jammu and Kashmir Valley. So we already know that earlier school teachers was shot, and now there are 2 more people who were targeted in Valley, and it was the killing took place in bank, and a laborer was shot dead in Budgam. So we can see that the targeted killings of locals in Valley has increased in recent time, and mostly those who are being targeted are the Kashmiri Pandits who have migrated to Kashmir after the passing of Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. Now most of the terrorists who are associated with it, now we already know that Jaish-e-Mohammed, okay, and the resistance front which is the shadow agency of Lashkar-e-Taiba. अभी हमने कुछ कल ही एक रिपोर्ट पढ़ा था, यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल का रिव्यू रिपोर्ट पढ़ा था. सो वी हैव फाउंड आउट दैट इन दैट रिपोर्ट दैट Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba, both Indian centric militant groups, they both have their training camps in Afghanistan. So there was a report which says that Afghanistan has become a terrorist havens for most of the terrorist groups. Among them the Indian centric groups LET and Jaish-e-Mohammed are also present there. The next is from foreign affairs. Okay, so from foreign affairs we can see that India has sent a multi-member team of senior diplomats to Afghanistan for the first time since the Indian embassy in Kabul was evacuated in August 2021. Now the history goes like that when Afghanistan, it was captured by Kabul. Afghanistan when it was captured by Taliban. Okay, so what happened, that Indian embassy was closed down in Taliban, okay, in Afghanistan, and the India suspended its diplomatic presence in Kabul, and it started with flight of President Ashraf Ghani from Kabul last August. And now India has sent a multi-member team of senior diplomats to Afghanistan for first time since the fall of Kabul in Taliban hand. Now over here the Indian delegations, they held discussions and the Taliban has urged India to reopen its embassy. Now देखियो कहाँ कहाँ पे, in Kabul, Suhail Shaheen. Now the Indian team, who is leading this Indian team? So JP Singh, who is a joint secretary, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran division of MEA. Now over here there is one thing which we should remember, that is India's humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan. So India is sending 50,000 metric ton of wheat, 50,000 metric ton of wheat to Afghanistan. This wheat is being sent through land route from Attari, Wagha border and Jalalabad. Okay, so India is helping Afghanistan through this, and along with the wheat, medical aid is also being sent, and this humanitarian assistance for sending wheat, it is under the World Food Program, headquartered in Rome, which is the world's largest humanitarian program. Now this is the article which we should read, which explains the increasing targeted killing of civilians in Valley. So if you will just see that in past 22 days 9 civilians have been killed by militants, which also includes Kashmiri Pandit employee, a Hindu school teacher from Jammu and a bank manager from Rajasthan. Now this has led to a protest in the Valley from the minority committees. Now if you will just see over here, the return of Kashmiri Pandits to Valley during the militancy in Kashmir in 1990. Okay, Kashmiri Pandits they left the Valley due to its increasing violence. Now their return was first time encouraged by comprehensive policy in 2008. At that time our Prime Minister was Manmohan Singh. So he started a political outreach to stakeholders of Kashmiri's political parties and started creating a conducive environment for Kashmiri Pandits to return to Valley. Now this package for return and rehabilitation of Kashmir migrants, they offered jobs to Pandit youths, and there was a financial assistance of rupees 7.5 lakh per family, which was later increased to 22 to 20 to 25 lakh. Now if we will just see over here that this series of targeted killings of the members of the minority committees, यहाँ पे हम minority committees कहते हैं, तो we are talking about Kashmiri Pandits. Okay, so it started from October 6, 2021, when for the first time leading pharmacist of Valley, Makhan Lal Bindru, he was killed in his shop. Okay, now the main reason for this, now see this paragraph: policies implemented by the center regarding land and government jobs are perceived in Jammu and Kashmir as disadvantageous to locals, increasing the sense of alienation that is being exploited by separatist and Pakistan based terrorists. So this is the main reason of increasing disenchantment of Kashmiri people. So how do they take this policy of providing jobs and land? So यहाँ पे इसको क्या कहते हैं कि changing the demography, ठीक है ना, ये कश्मीरी लोग इसको ऐसे परसीव करते हैं. ओके, बट इफ यू विल जस्ट सी दैट कश्मीरी पंडिट्स, दे वर द वंस द inhabitant of Kashmiri Valley, they were the part of cultural milieu of that region. Okay, but this is not taken well by the Kashmiri locals. Okay, they see that their chances of getting the government job etc is being taken over by the migrants who are coming to the valley. So this situation is being exploited by the terror groups. Now the center, it has the responsibility to ensure the security of Hindus and migrant workers in the valley. The next is that creating a dialogue, creating a space for dialogue between the Kashmiri political parties and the union government, which will help to bridge the, what you can say, a misinformation between both the parties. Next is China's growing footprint in the Pacific Islands. So if you will come to the Pacific Islands, so when we were doing about when we were doing Quad Summit 2022, Quad Summit 2022, तो हमने यहाँ पे पढ़ा था कि जब क्वाड समिट में जब इंडो पैसिफिक रीजन की हम बात करते हैं, when we talk about the इंडो पैसिफिक रीजन, तो यहाँ पे पर्टिकुलरली 3 रीजन आते हैं. एक तो होता है पैसिफिक आइलैंड्स, दूसरा साउथ ईस्ट एशिया, और तीसरा आ जाता है इंडियन ओशन रीजन. Okay, now over here if you will just see, if we focus on Pacific Islands, okay, so here there is again Pacific Islands have become a flashpoint for geopolitics or contestation between two countries, China and USA. So the story so far goes that China is pushing a comprehensive framework deal with the Pacific Island countries, and which was later refuted by these countries, citing that they will be threat to their sovereignty. Also these Pacific Islands are important for countries like USA. अगर हम Pacific Islands के बारे में देखेंगे तो Pacific Island जो है they are small countries, they are small islands, ठीक है, small islands and few population, but why they are very important? Because they have very large exclusive economic zone. ठीक है. Now what is this exclusive economic zone? So exclusive economic zone, so suppose there is one treaty which is called as United Nations Convention on Law of Sea, UNCLOS, we call it UNCLOS, United Nations, C for convention, L for law, O for of, S for sea. तो ये क्या करता है कि ये मैरीटाइम टेरिटरी को डिलिनिएट करता है. सो फॉर एग्जांपल सपोज दिस इज द फिजिकल बाउंड्री ऑफ द कंट्री, तो यहाँ से 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स, ठीक है ना, तो 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स फ्रॉम हियर it will be called as territorial water. फिर 12 नॉटिकल माइल के बाद और एक 12 नॉटिकल माइल, वी कॉल इट कंटिन्यूअस जोन। फिर इस बेस लाइन से 200 नॉटिकल माइल, वी कॉल इट एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन, EEZ. Okay, now if you will just see over here that the Pacific Islands, they are the cluster of 14 states which are located largely in the tropical zone of Pacific Ocean and they lie between Asia, Australia and Americas. कुछ कंट्रीज जो यहाँ पे हैं, these are Cook Islands, Fiji, Kiribati, Republic of Marshall Islands, Federated States of Micronesia, FSM, Nauru, Niue, Palau, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Island, then Tonga, Tuvalu and Vanuatu. ठीक है। नाउ ये जो आइलैंड है इसको 3 डिस्टिंक्ट पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करते हैं बेस्ड ऑन देयर फिजिकल एंड ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी। इट इज़ माइक्रोनेशिया, मेलानेशिया एंड पॉलिनेशिया। सो यहाँ पे अगर हम देखेंगे दैट दो दे आर सम ऑफ द स्मॉलेस्ट एंड लीस्ट पॉपुलेटेड स्टेट्स, दे हैव सम ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट exclusive economic zone in the world. Now what is the importance of this? It means that large exclusive economic zone means that there is a huge economic potential. Exclusive economic zone का मतलब जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि सपोज ये 200 nautical miles तक, 1 nautical mile is around 1.816 किलोमीटर। सो 1 nautical miles का मतलब ये 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone का मतलब यहाँ पे जितने भी रिसोर्सेज हैं उसको एक्सट्रैक्ट करने का राइट इस कंट्री के पास होगा। ठीक है। सो इट मीन्स दैट देयर इज ह्यूज पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ फिशरीज, एनर्जी, मिनरल्स एंड अदर मैराइन रिसोर्सेज विच इज प्रेजेंट इन सच जोन्स। इसीलिए दे आर आइडेंटिफाइड एज बिग ओशियन स्टेट्स रादर देन स्मॉल आइलैंड स्टेट्स। तो इनको क्या कहते हैं? बिग ओशियन स्टेट्स, बिकॉज दे हैव वेरी लार्ज एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन्स। जैसे कि अगर हम 2 आइलैंड की बात करें, किरीबाती और Federated States of Micronesia, that is FSM, both are PICs. They have EEZ larger than that of India. Now if you will just see over here that China, which wants to extend its control in this region, so China does not have any particular historical linkages to PICs, but Western countries का है, because for some point in the history they have colonized this 14 PICs, but the interest in PIC is of recent origin for China, and it is significant for China to become a super naval power. ठीक है ना। तो अगर हम चाइना की अगर बात करें, चाइना का अगर हम मैरीटाइम इंटरेस्ट लें, तो चाइना का एक है फर्स्ट आइलैंड चेन। फर्स्ट आइलैंड चेन में जैसे कि आपका आ जाएगा साउथ चाइना सी के जितने भी आइलैंड हैं, फिर ताइवान जो है, ओके, दे बिकम फर्स्ट आइलैंड चेन फॉर चाइना, which starts from Taiwan and goes up to Japan. ठीक है। But for China these PICs are far seas. Okay, so but controlling these far seas will make China an effective blue water capable navy, which is prerequisite for becoming a superpower. Also this area is also being important for Quad members. The next is role of Taiwan in this. So if Taiwan, which China says as a breakaway territory, so if Western it becomes important to break Western domination of island chains of the Pacific, which could impede reunification. मतलब it's saying that if China has control over Taiwan and these 14 PICs, so it will be very easy for China to break the US domination in this region. With US domination in which region? In Pacific region. Okay, US domination in Pacific region. Now China, it wanted to push China Pacific island countries into a common development vision. Okay, these were the 2 drafts for increasing the relationship between China and Pacific islands. So these two drafts were China Pacific Island Countries Common Development Vision and China Pacific Islands 5-year action plan on common development. Okay, so here these two documents, they give focus on cooperation between Chinese and PICs in political, security, economic and strategic areas. बट अगर हम PICs की बात करें, सोलोमन आइलैंड ने पहले तो साइन कर लिया था, बट PIC एज अ कलेक्टिव दे डिड नॉट एग्री टू चाइनाज एक्सटेंसिव एंड एम्बिशियस प्रपोजल एंड हेंस चाइना हैज़ फेल्ड टू गेट अ कंसेंसस ऑन द डील. खासकर अगर हम माइक्रोनेशिया की बात करें, FSM मतलब फेडरेटेड स्टेट ऑफ माइक्रोनेशिया, it has sent a letter to all the PIC governments saying that they have to look at the Chinese proposal with caution because it undermines their sovereignty and it will bring them into a two major power conflict between China and USA. The next is we already did this news yesterday, that which state became the first state to start a caste-based census. So the answer is Bihar. So all the political parties who have representation in legislative assembly, including the Janata Dal, BJP, RJD, etc., they have called for caste-based census. So if you will just see, the highlights are necessary. That Bihar cabinet along with state BJP approved a proposal to carry out a caste-based count in the state. Now this proposal was supported by all the political parties, and the aim of this proposal is to understand the exact population of various caste groups and to assess their socio-economic development. For example, if we know the triple test of Supreme Court for giving reservation, so the first is to set up the commission, the second is the commission to set up to research on the social and economic backwardness of any caste group. Second is quantifiable data. There should be a quantifiable data to back the to show the socio-economic backwardness of any caste group, to show the extent of socio-economic backwardness of any caste group. So we need a quantifiable data. And the third is that reservation should not cross 50% ceiling, which was laid down by Supreme Court in Indra Sawhney case. बट यहाँ पे अगर हम यूनियन गवर्नमेंट का स्टैंड देखेंगे, सो यूनियन गवर्नमेंट ने इसको रूल आउट किया है, कंडक्टिंग अ कास्ट सेंसस एट ऑल इंडिया लेवल. द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट हैज सेड दैट इट इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिवली डिफिकल्ट एंड cumbersome. No respite for people booked under UAPA or Section 124A of the Indian Penal Code. So the Supreme Court has freezed the sedition proceedings under the colonial Section 124A. Okay, but it does not have made any ripple on the ground for persons who have also been charged under the draconian Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of 1967 in the same case or separately. ठीक है, तो सेंटर ने सेक्शन 124A को फ्रीज कर दिया है. ठीक है, फाइन. सेक्शन 124A of IPC. But there is one other draconian act, that is Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of 1967. So there are certain journalists, certain people who have been arrested in both the cases. So since the Supreme Court has stayed Section 124A and not the UAPA, so you can see that certain people are still facing the charges under the UAPA. They are behind the bar. Now if you will just see some important information, that Home Ministry in Parliament has said कि 2018-19-20 में जितने भी लोग अरेस्ट किए थे उसमें से 53% जो थे they were below the age of 30. Okay, now there was an amendment in 2019 which made the act very powerful. Okay, now it can designate individuals and not just association as terrorist. पहले क्या था कि किसी एसोसिएशन को आप टेररिस्ट ग्रुप बुला सकते हो, अब आप किसी इंडिविजुअल को भी टेररिस्ट बुला सकते हो, टेररिस्ट का संज्ञान दे सकते हो. ठीक है, संज्ञा दे सकते हो. सो अब एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट है, नेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी वर्सेस जहूर अहमद शाह वातन इन 2019 which has made bail in UAPA case virtually a very difficult task. So here the judgment has confirmed the high burden placed by section 43D5 of UAPA on accused to demonstrate that the prosecution charges against him were not based on reasonable ground. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? सिंपल इसका मतलब है कि अगर बेल लेना है या कुछ भी, तो there is section 43D5 which places the burden of proof not on investigating agency but on the accused. The next is पंडित भजन सोपोरी passes away. तो कुछ दिन पहले हमने देखा था कि renowned संतूर प्लेयर शिव कुमार शर्मा had passed away. Now one more renowned santoor player Pandit Bhajan Sopori, he has also passed away. Okay, so Bhajan Sopori, if you can say Pandit Bhajan Sopori 1948-2002, so he died of cancer in Gurugram hospital, and now his legacy will be carried forward by his younger son Abhay. Now if you will just see the background, so he was born in Srinagar and he inherited the Sufiana tradition of Santoor from his great-grandfather Shankar Pandit and grandfather Samsar Chand Sopori. His father Shambhunath Sopori, who is called the father of music in Jammu and Kashmir, he introduced Pandit Sopori to the family instrument at very young age. The next is India-Israel seek links on futuristic defense technology. So if you will just see over here, so India-Israel diplomatic relation, it turned 30 years this age, okay, and now they are looking forward for more futuristic defense tech. So the visiting Israeli defense minister Benny Gantz and Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, okay, they discussed the partnership with government to government framework, military training and technological cooperation, and the focus was on unmanned aerial vehicles and defensive capabilities. Now this is also today's one of the very important news, okay. इस आर्टिकल को रीड करना, क्योंकि इससे वन लाइनर क्वेश्चंस भी आते हैं और इससे पैसेज भी बनता है क्लैट का. So if you will just see over here that India has seen an increase in attacks on people due to religious intolerance and places of worship, according to the US Secretary State Anthony Blinken. तो यहाँ पे एक रिपोर्ट है जो स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट, यूएस का स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट रिलीज़ करता है. सो दैट रिपोर्ट इज़ रिपोर्ट ऑन 2021 रिपोर्ट ऑन इंटरनेशनल रिलीजियस फ्रीडम. तो इसमें जो इम्पोर्टेंट हाइलाइट्स हैं उसको हम देख लेते हैं. द फर्स्ट इज़ दैट द सेक्रेटरी हैज़ साइटेड वियतनाम एंड नाइजीरिया एज एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ कंट्रीज वेयर रिलीजियस एक्सप्रेशन वॉज बिकमिंग कर्टेल्ड. तो इंडिया के साथ साथ वियतनाम एंड नाइजीरिया को भी इस मतलब लिस्ट में डाला गया है. Now this report, it contains the assessment of the state of religious freedom in countries in 2021 and is compiled by the department's International Religious Freedom Department, which is led by Rashad Hussain, who is the ambassador for IRF. तो यहाँ पे देखिए हम लोगों को फैक्चुअल इन्फॉर्मेशन भी बहुत ज़्यादा मिल रहा है. पहला तो यूएस सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट कौन है? सो एंथनी ब्लिंकन, हु इज़ द department head of IRF, International Religious Freedom. So it is Rashad Hussain. Okay, now this document is distinct from the IRF report which is released by the US Commission on International Religious Freedom. इसके बारे में हमने कुछ दिन पहले पढ़ा था. So एक होता है IRF रिपोर्ट जो US के स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट निकालती है, एक होता है IRF रिपोर्ट which is released by the US Commission on International Religious Freedom. अब इन अप्रैल, ठीक है ना, इस कमीशन ने स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट को रिकमेंड किया था कि इंडिया को थर्ड टाइम इन अ रो कंट्री ऑफ पर्टिकुलर कंसर्न में डाला जाए. इंडिया पहले से ही 2 बार इसमें डाला गया है, अब थर्ड टाइम भी इसको डाला जाए. वाई? बिकॉज द कंट्री शोइंग द वर्स्ट रिकॉर्ड्स ऑन रिलीजियस फ्रीडम. अब हम देखते हैं कि इसमें स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट का क्या रिस्पॉन्स था। तो अब इसको रिकमेंड तो किया गया स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट को कि पुट इंडिया इन कंट्री ऑफ पर्टिकुलर कंसर्न, बट since this state department is not bound by the USCIRF recommendations and it has not put India in the category of as country of particular concern. The next is liquid mirror telescope in Devasthal sees first light. So if you will just see the 4-meter international liquid mirror telescope ILMT, it saw the first light. इसको पहली बार अनवील किया गया कहाँ पे, देवस्थल, which is a hill in Uttarakhand. Okay, now this telescope, it has been built in a collaboration from scientists from different countries like Canada, Belgium and India. इसके कुछ highlights देख लीजिए. It is located at an altitude of 2450 meters on the Devasthal Observatory campus of Aryabhatta Research Institute of Observational Science, which is located in Nainital districts. Okay, and it is an autonomous body under the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Now how it has been made, तो इसमें एक मरकुरी को वेसल में डाला गया है and it spins around so fast it curves into a parabolic shape. Okay, अब मरकुरी क्या है, वो एक रिफ्लेक्टिव मीडियम है. So this shape helps in focusing the reflected light. The next is, sometimes they can ask you the first image which has been made by this telescope. So it consisted of several stars and galaxy which is 45 million light years away. एक गैलेक्सी का नाम यहाँ पे दिया गया है NGC 4274. Now over here Russia has tightened its grip on Ukrainian cities, so we just cannot see that this war is coming to an end. अब ईस्टर्न यूक्रेन के डॉनबास रीजन में एक और सिटी आ गया है, ठीक है ना. सो विच इज सेवरोडोनेट्स्क. ओके, सो अर्लियर रिलेटेड टू दिस वी विल जस्ट सी दैट US has announced a new package for Ukraine, that is $700 million weapons package for Kyiv. Okay, which also includes advanced rocket system with a range up to 80 किलोमीटर. और यहाँ पे US ने एक कंडीशन लगाया है कि they will not be used for firing into the Russian territory, but yes, they can be used in Donbas region. The next is that India is going to supply in Sri Lanka with fertilizer. Okay, fertilizer की shortage है श्रीलंका में. Earlier it was following the organic farming policy, it has to revert it back. So Sri Lanka is now expecting 65,000 ton fertilizer consignment from India worth about $25 million. So it will help to overcome the food crisis in Sri Lanka. The next is Salman Rushdie, who is a Mumbai born author, and he has written certain Booker Prize winning novel like Midnight's Children. So he is leading a list of over 40 professionals and community champions of Indian origin to be honored in the Queen's Birthday Honours list. The next is about the trade deficit. So what is trade deficit? So trade deficit is difference between import and export. तो अगर हम देखेंगे कि ट्रेड डेफिसिट कितना है इंडिया का फॉर द थर्ड मंथ, इट इज़ अबाउट $60 बिलियन. तो यहाँ पे हम देखेंगे, सो इंडियाज मर्चेंडाइज ट्रेड डेफिसिट वाइडन टू अ रिकॉर्ड ऑफ $23.3 बिलियन इन मे. ओके, यहाँ पे एक्सपोर्ट कितना ग्रो किया, 15.5%, बट इम्पोर्ट आप देख रहे हैं इट ग्रू बाई 56.1%. Okay, and for the third month in the row, the merchandise imports have crossed $60 billion thanks to elevated commodity. Reasons for it is rising commodity prices in global market and rise in crude oil prices. तो इसकी वजह से क्या हो रहा है कि हमारा जो एक्सपोर्ट है, सॉरी जो इम्पोर्ट है, इट इज़ अबाउट $60.62 बिलियन. ओके, अब जो हमारा ट्रेड डेफिसिट है, इट इज़ coming to the $23.33 billion. Now what is the meaning of trade deficit, how it is important in economy? So trade deficit में इसका मतलब होता है कि आप उस कंट्री का एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट के मुकाबले कम है, मतलब देयर इज मोर आउटफ्लो ऑफ डॉलर, ओके, एंड लेस इनफ्लो ऑफ ओके फॉरेन करेंसी, मतलब कि यहाँ पे फॉरेक्स गिरता चले जाता है ट्रेड डेफिसिट की वजह से, ठीक है। पर यहाँ पे जो ये ट्रेड डेफिसिट है, वी आर जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट मर्चेंडाइज, गुड्स के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, विजिबल्स, ठीक है ना। अब इंडिया इसको मेकअप कैसे करता है? इंडिया इसको मेकअप करता है ट्रेड इन सर्विसेज, अगर हम देखेंगे इंडिया का, ओके, एंड कैपिटल अकाउंट। So over here India has good flow of foreign currency. So friends, that's all for today. We will be meeting tomorrow again with the daily Hindu analysis. Till then, have a nice time. Take care. Thank you.